I would like to welcome our trainer, Mr. Abdul Rahman, and our beloved principal, teachers, and students. I am so excited to see you all here to participate in today's webinar KH Eminent series. I hope today's discussion in this session can make each and everyone benefits. Let's start the interesting session with the blessing of Almighty Allah through the Qiraat. Now I request Master T.M. Muhammad Qais of class 11th C to recite the verses from the Holy Quran.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Qais. May Allah bless and increase your knowledge. Now I request Master F. Muhammad Huzaifa of class 11th A to recite now.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. محمد سا نہیں کوئی، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ رسولوں نے کہا مل کر، فرشتوں نے کہا پڑھ کر، رسولوں نے کہا مل کر، فرشتوں نے کہا پڑھ کر، یہی حوروں کا نغمہ ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، یہی حوروں کا نغمہ ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ سراپا آپ کا لکھنے کو قرآن سامنے رکھا، سراپا آپ کا لکھنے کو قرآن سامنے رکھا، قلم نے اتنا لکھا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، قلم نے اتنا لکھا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ دہن بک میں لکھا ہے، نبی کا نام اونچا ہے، دہن بک میں لکھا ہے، نبی کا نام اونچا ہے، یہ مائیکل ہارٹ لکھتا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، یہ مائیکل ہارٹ لکھتا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ جنا ہے مار کھا کر بھی، ہزاروں زخم سہ کر بھی، جلا ہے مار کھا کر بھی، ہزاروں زخم سہ کر بھی، بلال حبش کہتا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی، بلال حبش کہتا ہے، محمد سا نہیں کوئی۔ زمانے بھر میں ڈھونڈا ہے، जैसा नहीं कोई जमाने भर का है मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई जनाबे सईदा हसनैन और मौला अली बोले जनाबे सईदा हसनैन और मौला अली बोले नबी जैसा न देखा है मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई नबी जैसा न देखा है मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई जमाने भर ढूंढा है मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई जमाने भर ढूंढा है मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई मोहम्मद सा नहीं कोई.
Thank you, Huzaifa, for such a beautiful naat. Welcoming is an art from the bottom of the heart. Now I would like to invite Muhammad Asad Hamdan of class 98 to welcome the guest of honor.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And warm good evening to all of you. Honorable guests, respected principal, teachers, and my dear friends, I welcome you all. Reach high for stars lie hidden in your soul. Dream deep, for every dream leads the goal. I, Muhammad Asad Hamdan of class 9, on behalf of Kate Matriculation, Boys Higher Secondary School, I welcome everyone of you to the KH Eminent series. Alhamdulillah, today is a special and memorable occasion, one that we will remember ahead. It is a time to chill, to cheer, to shine, to inspire, and to be inspired. It is the honor to be surrounded by so many special personalities and to be blessed in the fellowship of this gracious occasion. Thank you once again. I welcome you all.
Thank you, Hamdan. Now I request Master Abdullah Mutahir of class 10B to give a brief introduction about our chief guest.
Rangarajan R, ACA, Grad CWA, ex-IAS officer. Rangarajan R is from Chennai. He graduated from University of Madras in 1998 with 7th rank of university. He is a chartered accountant and course accountant by profession and started his career as an article trainee in PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, Chennai. He worked in ICICI Bank post-qualification for 4 years before going on to become an IAS officer of 2005 batch at Assam, Kadru. He returned to ICICI Bank where he worked in its corporate banking division for 6 years. Since 2016, he is Associate Director at Officer IAS Academy, Chennai, where he teaches quality and governance for civil aspirants. His hobbies include reading and short story writing, and avoid long-distance runner and has completed more than 20 half marathons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mutahir. Now it's time for which we are here. Let me now invite the guest of honor, Mr. R. Rangarajan. Sir, it's over to you.
Yes, thank you all for inviting me one more time. I had spoken to the Sana group of schools, if I'm not wrong, a few weeks or about a couple of months back. So when Mr. Abdul Rahman invited me to again speak to another set of students, it really is a very motivating and an inspiring feeling, isn't it? So, you have done something in life. It's not something extraordinary. It's just hard work and perseverance and the commitment that has helped me do what I've done till now. But it is even more gratifying. It is even more satisfying if that is something which I can share with youngsters now, and if that acts as motivation for them to achieve bigger things in life, then I would have played a small part, isn't it? So that is why I said, okay, I'll be happy doing it. And I'm happy to be interacting with all you guys. So, just a few things. I'll just speak for 5-10 minutes about what I've done and what you should do. And then, I'll take questions. There are a lot of questions, because then it becomes slightly more interactive. I'll be able to explain, because if I explain everything in the first go for 20-25 minutes, and then the questions I have to keep repeating it. Yeah, it becomes slightly repetitive and boring. So I'll keep my initial introduction brief, and then I'm happy to take questions from you, and I'll answer them, and that will hopefully clarify a lot of questions, a lot of doubts that you may have in your mind, and it will also hopefully motivate you for bigger things in life in future. So I am Rangarajan. I come from North Madras, North Chennai, Tiruvuttur, a place called Tiruvuttur. I still live there. So I say this particularly, with a sense of pride, because usually northern part of Chennai, people associate it with all kind of violence and street fights and other stuff, but it is nothing like that. Wherever you come from, it doesn't matter, as long as you have the good intention, as long as you have the commitment, the hard work, people can rise from. And this is after all Chennai. There are people who come from really rural areas in the country and have made it really big. So it doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is what you do and how much commitment you have to whatever you do. That is what is most important. So I started off, I did my schooling in Tiruvuttur only. I wanted to be a chartered accountant, so I took a commerce group in my 11th and 12th standard. I finished, and then I went to BCom in DG Vaishnav College in Arumbakam. I cleared my BCom, and along with BCom, I did what is called as cost accounting. It was called cost and works accounting at that point of time, but it is called cost accounting now, Institute of Cost Accountants of India. So I did that professional course along with my BCom, and after that I did CA. I did my articleship from Pricewaterhouse, which is a top 4 firm in the world. So I did my articleship there. I completed that. Then I went to a bank. I worked in ICICI Bank, first in Bombay, then in Chennai. And then I have always wanted to do something for the society, because we are a privileged, I consider myself that, a privileged person. When I say privileged person, it was not that I was born in some super rich family. I was having car and bungalow and, taking foreign vacations or anything like that. Right? I come from a very humble background. My father was a cashier in a factory near our house, and we come from a lower middle class family. Right? But when I say privileged, I have had the privilege of having good education. I have had the privilege of having good parents who supported me. I have had the privilege of going to good school, good colleges, good organizations. And I always felt that we should give it back to the society. And at that point of time, the best way, I thought, is to join the civil services. So I prepared for my civil services exam. So, it's a very competitive exam. But again, not something which is impossible if you put in your best effort, if you really work hard. Because every year, if you find the kind of people who get qualified in the civil service exam, they are not some people who come from the best institutions, or they are not people who come from the higher or the richer sections of the society. They are not sons and daughters of all bureaucrats who anyways have access to the civil service examination. Nothing like that. It's a very fair exam. Everybody who puts in their best effort, who is dedicated, can clear this exam. It's a 3-stage exam. You are still in your 11th, 12th standard. We don't have to discuss so much about the pattern of the exam and all at this point of time. If you have any questions relating to that, I'll answer that. But it's an exam which basically tests your general knowledge, your current affairs knowledge, your understanding of the Indian Constitution and, Indian history and Indian geography. So when you're reading in your school, when you're in your 9th standard, 10th standard, even 11th standard, 12th standard, if you're in the arts group, whatever books on political science that you read, whatever books on history that you read, whatever books on geography that you read, those are the things that are again asked, even in the civil service exam. Right? In our school, history, geography and all, we do it just for namesake, isn't it? Nobody likes it in a big way. Okay, one subject, we have to somehow write the 10th standard exam. So we always don't learn history the way it has to be learned. But again, when you are preparing for the civil service exam after your graduation, when you are again reading the 10th standard, 9th standard, 8th standard history book or geography book, you will yourself realize, oh, I did not get the idea behind it. What was our freedom struggle? How was the country ruled? How did the Mughals rule the country? Then how did the Britishers rule the country? How our freedom struggle was shaped? How we got our independence? What is our constitution? So all those things only you are again asked to, you are tested on. So, and then you qualify and you become IAS officers, IPS officers, IFS officers, various services. That's the one exam based on rank you get qualified. I was already a 46th rank in the year I wrote 2004 exam and I got into IAS. I worked in Assam. I have done elections there. I have handled law and order issues there. I have handled flood relief there. I worked for a few years and then I wanted to come back because of some personal reasons, and I also wanted to continue my professional work in banking, which is what I was doing before joining the civil service. I came back, I joined ICICI Bank again. I worked for 5 to 6 more years, but again, ultimately, that drive to be part of something which is helpful to the society directly or closely associated with that. So that way I decided, okay, enough is enough. I stopped my banking job, and now for the last 5 years, I am a trainer. I train civil service aspirants. I am the associate director of an academy called Officers IAS Academy in Anna Nagar. It is started and it is run by one Mr. Israel Jabbar Singh, who is a 2004 batch IAS officer, 1 year senior to me. I belong to the 2005 batch. So I have joined there 5 years back, and I train candidates in polity, which is Indian Constitution, in anthropology and various other subjects. I train them through all the phases of taking up this civil service exam. Right. I also have my own YouTube channel. I keep sending it to Mr. Abdul Rahman and I ask him to forward it also to the students. I'm sure he's doing it. I would request him to do it because it is just again spreading of knowledge and motivation. Right. So I do make videos on current events, current affairs, and motivational videos on certain aspects based on my own experiences. So that is also a way of imparting knowledge. So that is what I do. So I would request him to do that in future as well. And I train the candidates, as I told you. And for all of you out there, right, many of you are in your 9th standard, you are in your 10th standard, some of you are in your 11th and 12th standard also. You will have your own career aims, isn't it? Some of you may want to become doctors, some of you may want to become engineers, some of you may want to become graduates, some of you may want to become entrepreneurs, which is you want to start your own company or your own business and you want to do well in it. Everything is fine. As long as you are committed, right, and all of you come from a good background, we want to do things which are legal, which are right and which are wonderful to do. And anything, it's not that only doctors are serving the society, only engineers are serving the society, or only businessmen are serving the society, or only people who work in the government serve the society. There are various avenues which are there, right? So try and make the best of the wonderful education that you are getting. Yes? So because I told this even when I was speaking to the Sana schools, Mr. Abdul Rahman may recollect it, right? So, you guys who get a good quality modern education, right, are actually people who represent your community, who can do wonders in the society, be it in business, be it in government service, be it in your own profession, whatever you take, and be as torchbearers for upholding these values of good education, for being ambassadors for good education that you are getting. So because ultimately we are a secular country, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're a Hindu or Muslim or Christian. This country belongs to everyone equally, right? That's what our constitution says. That is what our constitution makers believed in when the country was divided on religious lines in August 1947. At the time of independence, what was created was an Islamic Republic of Pakistan. But on this side, we created the secular Republic of India, right? That is the beauty of our country. We believe that Our constitution makers believe, and everyone in this country believes, that it doesn't matter, religion is your personal belief. It is your personal faith. When it comes to the society, when it comes to our social harmony, we all are Indians. We all, have the same rights, have the same civilizational values, and we belong to the same country. And that is something which you guys who are getting wonderful modern education, right? You need to be ambassadors of propagating that amongst your own friends and to the society at large, right? So that this basic secular tradition and credential of our country remains intact. It will not go away for sure. There can be forces which can, and I'm not trying to make a political statement here or anything like that, but there are forces, right? On all sides. In the majority Hindu community, in the minority Muslim community, or in the Christian community, there are always bad apples, and in a basket full of apples, right? And if they try to show their power, then it is something which the constitution has to take care of. It will take care of, right? So we need to have that in mind and have a modern outlook and uphold our constitutional values, and whatever profession you take. And civil service is also definitely a wonderful profession to pursue. After your college, you can become engineers and then also become civil servants. There are many doctors also who become civil servants because they feel, okay, doctor means I have to attend only to patients, but as civil servant I can serve the entire society in various capacities. There are many doctors who take up civil services. There are many engineers who take up civil services. Chartered accountants like me have taken civil services. Graduates take civil services. So definitely it is a good option if you want to have a continuous service in the government, serve the society from various capacities. Of course, you're all in school now. This is an exam which you can take only after you complete 21 years of age and only after you finish at least one graduate degree. But if you have that in mind, you can always start preparing for it now. What do you do for preparing for it now? Read a newspaper every day. Right? A Hindu newspaper or Times of India or Indian Express, whatever it is. A good quality English newspaper. Yeah? Which will give you, try and understand what is happening in the country. Try and understand. If you're reading something about United Nations, try and remember or revise what you know about United Nations. You read about international relations, what is happening in America, what is happening in India, what is India-US relation. You try and read about what is happening in elections, how are elections conducted, who conducts elections. You try and understand what is happening in the economy, right? So just read newspapers regularly. Yeah? And as I told you, there are various social media platforms also, but go for authentic news. And that is why I said, my YouTube channel will definitely be authentic news. I'm not going to spread fake news in my YouTube channel. So, a lot of current events which are happening is something about which I also make videos. There is something called as Pulse magazine, which is there in our Officers IAS Academy website, which also gives you inputs about current affairs. So these are things that you can parallelly read along with your school syllabus, along with your college when you are getting into college. Just be aware, and towards the end of your college, the last year of your college or after you graduate, you can always do a full-fledged coaching for 1 year and then take the exam and give an attempt if you are looking for civil service as a career, right? Because I train for civil services, so I just wanted to give you that background. But otherwise, any professional course, any course, you want to become entrepreneurs, you want to become businessmen, you want to become doctors, engineers, give your best effort in whatever you do, and there is no substitute for hard work. So once you do your efforts well, then you will be able to do well in the long run. So I will just stop there. As I told you, I've gone on for around 12-15 minutes. I give you a brief background and also what I wanted to broadly communicate. But now we will take questions for the next half an hour or so. Whatever questions are there, I'll be happy to answer them.
Now it's time for questions. Sir, firstly, what was your ambition as a child growing up? What made you choose the commerce stream?
Yeah, so as I told you, there are also some questions which are popping up in the comments. So maybe we'll take that also towards the end. So, as I told you during our days, and this is almost 25 years back, more than 25 years back, when I completed my 10th standard, I was second in school, in my CBSE school. I scored 434. At that point of time, 450 itself was a big score, right? And I scored 434 out of 500, and my principal said, okay, you take science group. I said, no, I want to take commerce group. So, my principal called my father-in-law and said, Arey, why is he taking commerce group? See, because those days, anyone who scores more than 400 gets science group, anyone who scores less than 400 gets commerce group. That, it was as if commerce was meant for students who are not very high scoring. Yeah, but that was the mindset at that point of time, because everyone wanted to be only a doctor and an engineer. Yes, those are the only two professions which people knew at that point of time. But somehow I had family members who were chartered accountants, so I was always somehow fascinated with that idea of becoming a chartered accountant. So I took up commerce group, right? So and I did that, and then I did my CA, ICAA and all. So that was the background why I took commerce group.
Thank you, sir. And second question. After completion of CA and ICAA and landing a banking job, what made you take up IAS exams?
Yeah. So again, as I told you in the introduction, CA, ICAA, they are good courses, right? And I feel very happy having done those courses, because it gives you a professional grounding. It helps you learn so many things. It is what has given me a good quality banking job also for 10 years in my career. So, but having said that, I have always wanted to, be slightly more actively involved. Yeah, in contribution to the society. How do you do it? So at that point of time, the end is to try and contribute. The best means at that point of time, which I thought will help me, was the civil service exam, and that is why I took the civil service exam and I qualified. Now, why did I come back? As I told you, there were some personal reasons, and I wanted to get back also into my banking profession. I worked for around 4 years in Assam, so I really enjoy that stint of training and my work in Assam, no doubt about that. But now again, I want to be again involved in at least creating civil service, right? And that is the reason why I am now associated with Officers IAS Academy, which helps in creating civil servants. I am involved in some political work also, because I feel that, there are certain constitutional values which we should uphold, and, we should guide the country in a particular manner. So that is also my way of contributing to the society. My YouTube channel, which is a new effort which I started just about a month back, is again one way of contributing to the society, because I try and inculcate knowledge about current affairs. I try and motivate people through my videos. So all these things are ultimately aimed at doing our bit for the society.
Thank you, sir. Next, it's time for students. Now, students, unmute your mic and ask your questions one by one.
Sir? Yeah. For IAS coaching is necessary, sir?
No, see, there is nothing. I prepared for this exam without any formal coaching, right? So I used to be a working professional. In fact, I used to work in ICICI Bank in Chennai at that time. I used to get up in the morning, read for some time. I used to read when I was traveling in the train till Central Station from Tiruvallur. Then I used to take a bus from Central Station to Tenambet, where our office was. Right, and in that bus, I used to sit in a corner and prepare. If I'm not able to get a seat for reading, then also I used to stand in one corner, try and see if I can open the book and prepare. While again coming back in the evening in the train, I used to prepare. So it is not compulsory that you should go for a coaching. But things have changed over a period of time. Now the syllabus has become very vast. It's not difficult, but it requires a lot of effort, and it requires very channelized effort, right? And that is where a coaching can be helpful, because it channelizes your preparation in an appropriate manner. And especially, let's say, our academy, which is Officers IAS Academy, we have 4 or 5 IAS officers who have written this exam in the past and who have qualified this. So we know exactly what it takes to clear this exam. So that way it channelizes your preparation. But even on your own, you can prepare, because as I told you, what you are going to prepare is primarily current affairs, Indian economy, history, geography, and other things that you have already studied in the school. So it's not some very, very difficult subjects that you're preparing for. But the areas that you prepare for is more, and so to that extent, a coaching channelizes your preparation. That's the only thing.
Aja sir, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Students can post their questions in chat box.
Yeah, so Naveed has said, sir, how
Sir,
many
good evening.
years- Yeah,
Good evening, sir.
yes.
This is Mohammed Ajas, principal of KH Boys School.
Yes, Mr. Mohammed.
Yeah, we are very thankful to you, sir, for spending your precious time with us today.
No, pleasure, Mr.
We are
Mohammed.
really honored to have you among us today, sir.
No, it's a pleasure, Mr. Jas. Thank you.
Sir, why civil service exams are considered to be the toughest one, sir?
No, see, it is considered to be the toughest because of the nature of the exam, number one. And number two, see, it's a competitive exam, isn't it? See, if you are doing your CA, or CA is also equally tough because the number of people who pass the exam is not very much. But other courses, unlike other courses and all, civil service exams, see, ultimately there are some 10 lakh people who apply for it every year, right? And out of that, at least 5 to 6 lakh people take up the prelims exam. Now, out of this 5 to 6 lakh people who take up the prelims exam, some 10,000 qualify for the mains exam. And out of this 10,000 who qualify for the mains exam, who write the mains exam, 2,500 people qualify for the interview. And out of this 2,500 people who qualify for the interview, it is the top 1,000 people who make it to the civil service, right? There are 150 IAS officers, 150 IPS officers, some 50 IFS officers, 100, 200 IRS officers. So there are around 26 services. These are the most important services. IAS, important means bigger services, IAS, IPS, IRS, IFS and all. But postal service, railway traffic service. There are so many other services also for which it is the same exam. So imagine from 5 lakh people, 1,000 people make it to the list. To look at the competition involved there. But I always say this, even to the people who join our academy. There are 5 lakh people who write the exam. But out of that 5 lakh people who really prepare well and take the exam will not be more than 60,000 to 70,000 people. Because some 1 lakh people will be filling up the form because their parents wanted them to write the civil service exam. Right? Some 1 lakh people will be filling up the form because their friend is also writing the civil service exam, so let me also write it. Some 1 lakh people will be filling up the form just to while away their time for one more year after college. Oh, I am preparing for IAS exam, so that parents don't ask them to go to a job. I'm not joking. That is the kind of attitude. You should not just... So, out of 60,000, 70,000 people, 1,000 people get selected. Serious aspirants. But that is also a competition, isn't it? Number one. And number two, this nature of exam itself, this is definitely probably the longest exam in the world. Right? Because, as I told you, now because of Corona, the prelims is going to happen tomorrow. But otherwise, the prelims exam usually happens during June. Then the results come out and the mains exam happened during September, October. Yeah. And then the results come out for that and the interview happens during February of March. And the result comes out during April 1st week. So an exam which starts in June of 1 year goes on till April of next year. Yes. So it actually you require a lot of patience and a perseverance, what you call as perseverance, not giving up. Right. So that way it is something which is tough in that sense. But if you have the right approach, the right mentorship, the right coaching, and the right preparation, then it is not something which is impossible.
How many stages are there, sir, in the examination?
So in the exam, as I told you, there is a prelims exam, which is multiple choice question, where you have 2 papers. One is just a qualifying paper of basic maths and English of 10th standard level. But there is a general studies paper, where history, geography, constitution, current affairs, all these things you should be aware of. Then there is some mains exam, which is a descriptive answer writing exam. There are 7 papers in mains. You have 4 common papers of general studies, which is again history, geography, world history, Indian economy, constitution, ethics, so on and so forth. You have 1 essay paper, which you have to write. And then you have 1 optional subject, which you have to choose, on which you will write 2 papers. So this is the mains exam for 1,750 marks. And out of this, people who get anything above 900, just above 50%, will qualify for interview. And then the third final stage is what is called as the personality test, where you go to Delhi, they ask you questions to assess your personality, not to test your knowledge, but assess your personality, whether you are patriotic, whether you are above region, whether you are above religion, right? All those factors are considered, and then the final list is prepared. Yes, so that's the nature of the exam.
Is that true, sir? Those who are preparing for the IAS examination, they have to spend nearly 15 to 20 hours in a day?
No. So that is again a myth. See, nobody can spend 20 hours in a day preparing, right? It's just not possible that you just sleep for 4 hours and the rest of the time you are at the book. Yeah, it is going to be draining. It is going to burn you out, right? You need to have 7 to 8 hours of good sleep. Yeah, you will need at least 2 to 3 hours for your personal activities, whatever it is, right? So 10 hours in a day is definitely for rest and for your personal freshening up and various other things. You may want to exercise for half an hour every day. So, right, if you are going to college, right, your college will take 6 hours of your time in the last year if you are preparing. But even after college, if you are preparing full-fledged for it, out of the balance 14 hours, you will be attending a class which will consume 3 to 4 hours every day of your time. So, you need to prepare for at least 6 hours every day, right? And it has to be productive. See, I always say this. You can be in front of a book for 20 hours, 15 hours a day also, and daydreaming. And nothing is going to get into your head. But if you are going to be in front of your book, so it is the quality of your preparation more than the quantity of time. But that doesn't mean that you just prepare for half an hour intensely and say, no, my quality is very good, so I'll become an IAS officer. That half an hour is not sufficient, right? So that will be 5 to 6 hours of good quality preparation. Yes? And as I told you, there is a methodical way in which you can prepare and crack this exam. But for students who are in their school and now going to get into the college, the first step, what I would suggest is how to prepare, what subjects, how to prepare and all is something which you can look at it even during the final year. Now, have the habit of reading a newspaper. Have the habit of, watching for current affairs, some news. Read a newspaper every day. So that is something which you can start with. And then you can slowly graduate and start preparing for the exam in the last year of college or 1 year after the college is over.
Sir, after completing the service, is there any other option for the IAS officer, sir? After IAS?
No, so you'll have to join the government and you'll have to work in the government. You can continue. No, it's a long service. You work till the age of 60 years. I had come back. I had resigned and come back, and now I'm training social aspirants. But but you have a lot of options. You can go abroad for work through the government. You'll get a paid study leave for preparing. For studying in universities like Harvard University or Stanford University and all. You can go and study. So that is something which is possible. You will have options to work both at the state level as well as at the central level. So it will be a very varied kind of experience in terms of the service. Right. So there are a lot of questions which have come in the chat box also. So someone has asked me how many years you spent preparing for the exam, Naveed. So as I told you, you should start full-fledged preparation at least 1 year before you are writing the exam. So let's say the final year of college you are preparing, or after final year of college you want to prepare for 1 year and then give the exam. So your reading habit of reading newspapers and all can start immediately, but full-fledged preparation for at least 1 year before the exam. And the exam itself is a 1 year cycle. I told you, prelims, then mains, then interview. That itself is a 1 year cycle. So you'll have to definitely devote 2 years of your time. 1 year before the prelims exam and almost close to a year after the prelims exam, which you should prepare. And did you clear the exam in your first attempt? Yes, I did a lot of hard work and I was also lucky, I would say. Okay, again I tell this. You can be unlucky not to clear in your first attempt. People who would have prepared as much as I did, who couldn't clear the exam at all. I know people like that also. So you can be slightly unlucky in not clearing the exam. But it's not a lottery. You cannot be lucky to clear the exam. Right? The only way to clear the exam is through hard work. Yeah? So that is something which you should have in mind. So you should prepare well. You should give all your effort in preparing for the exam. And how it feels to be an IAS, what changes have occurred in your life after getting such a designation is something which Karpoor Mohammed Ahmed has asked. So it feels good. Obviously, see, I've been called here to address all of you only because I'm an IAS officer or an ex-IAS officer. No, so definitely it is a good feeling when you're working in the field. Also, it's a good feeling. I have come out now, but I train civil service aspirants. It gives you a kind of a recognition in the society, so it feels good. But ultimately, how well you use it, right, is also important. So just because you have become an IAS, it doesn't mean that you have achieved everything in life and then you just keep quiet. It cannot be like that. But you will have to continue to work. Even if you are in the government, you have a lot of opportunities to work, as I told you, and you'll have to give it your best shot. Yes, so that is the one. And in which school did you study, sir? Is something someone has asked. Yes, I studied in a school called Vivekananda Vidyalaya, which is in Tiruvatiyur. It's part of a society called Vivekananda Educational Society. Right, they have CBSE schools across the city, and I studied in one such school in Tiruvatiyur, where I come from. Yeah, CBSE based schools. So that is where I studied, and I did my college from TG Vaishnav College. Sir, any age limit? Mini Mustaqim is asking. See, it's 32 years for general category candidates, and for people who belong to the backward community, other backward caste, it is 35 years of age. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about age limit now. You're just, all of you will not be more than 17. Yeah, so you will have to think about what is the minimum age to write the exam. I told about the maximum age limit. The minimum age, as I told you, is 21 years of age. So you should be 21 years of age by August 1st in the year in which you are writing the exam. So let's say you are going to write the exam in 2024 because in your 12th standard now, let's assume, and you'll complete your 12th standard in 2021. Okay, so in 2025 you will be writing it. Then as it stands now, as per the rule, on August 1st, 2025, you should have completed 21 years of age. So that is the cutoff. So you should be minimum 21 years of age in the year in which you are writing the exam by August 1st of that year. Yeah? And maximum age, you don't have to worry. As I told you, it's still 32 years of age. Even if they reduce it, they may reduce it to 28 or 30, not more than that. So you don't have to worry about age limit, maximum age limit now. But minimum, this is the time. So the last year, you should give full-fledged preparation. But right now, start reading newspapers. Try and understand what is happening around you, current events, nationally, internationally. Paris Climate Agreement, suddenly it comes up, or some national environmental policy, national education policy came up. People are saying it's good, some people are saying it's good, some people are saying it's not good. Right? Don't take any bias. Don't go by any bias. This government has made means it will definitely be bad. Right? You shouldn't have that kind of bias. Because ultimately you want to become government servants, isn't it? But you should have an analytical mind. Yeah? What are the pros and what are the cons? Try and understand it. As I told you, I also make videos on a lot of current affairs. Yeah? And I would request Abdul Rahman, sir, as I told you, to share the link to the students because it is just motivational current affairs kind of videos. So you can follow that. Right? There are newspapers, as I told you, every day read a newspaper, try and understand what is happening around you. So that is a ground, that is a basic preparation ground that you can do. Right? And then it will automatically take you to the next level. And in the last year, you can prepare full-fledged for the exam and give the exam. So what are the challenges do you face as an IAS officer and how do you overcome? Every job is challenging, and civil service, especially IAS, IPS officers and all, is definitely challenging. There is no doubt, because you work closely with the government, right? There may be some kind of political pressure in a lot of things that you do, but I know of hundreds of honest officers who just do their best. What is required, what is required to be done as per the law of the land, what is required to be done as per the constitution of the country, how you should uphold the basic principles of our constitution, and how you should ensure that whatever you do does not affect the poorer sections of the society, right? So definitely there will be political pressure at times, there will be pressure from even your seniors at times, there'll be a lot of work pressure because it is we are a big country and there are so many problems when you are in the field. But ultimately, if you stay honest for the work that you do, you will be able to do a good job.
Sir, can you list out some of your achievements during your job as IAS officer?
No, so as I told you, the day I took charge, I was in training. Even during training, I had tried to set right the school run for child labor. So I got trained in a place called Nagaon in Assam, and there are a lot of child labor. In fact, that place is very famous for perfume manufacturing. Some of you may be aware of that person. His name is Badruddin Ajmal, right? He's a member of parliament from Assam.
Yeah.
Assam United Democratic Front. So I'm not blaming him, but there are a lot of small factories over there which employ a lot of child labor. Yeah. So a lot of children, even from the Muslim community, are then taken out of such factories where they are doing child labor work, and they're put in schools, in vocational schools where they are allowed to learn something in the morning and they are taught properly in the afternoons. So I tried to set right whether it is being done properly, whether food is being given properly over there. The day I took charge as a sub-collector, there was floods in my subdivision. So I had to carry out relief work, and I did that well. I had conducted elections at the lowest possible cost for the constituency's panchayat elections in Assam. In my stint as a sub-collector, I've done some reforms in the personnel department where I worked in Assam. So, these are some of the things that I've done during my stint.
Good job, sir. Take care. Sir, among the civil services, which is considered to be the most powerful, sir? Powerful post, IAS, IPS, or IFR?
So it is, IAS, because of the diversity of the job, right? You get very senior positions right from the beginning. Within 4, 5, 6 years, you become collectors of districts, then you become secretaries, then you go on to become secretaries of Government of India. But police has its own charm, its uniformed service. You directly engage with the people regularly being in the police. Right, foreign service has its own importance. It may not be anything within the country, but international relations and diplomacy, it plays a huge role in the present thing. IRS, revenue service, while it may not be a field job, you may not be interacting with people, you are actually collecting money for the country. The country runs because of the taxes collected by the government. And an IRS officer is a very important position, which actually earns the revenue for the country, right? And railways is such a big network. So I think in terms of positions, in terms of importance of positions occupied, obviously IAS and IPS, because they are directly linked to the people, and they of course reach very senior positions in charge for the whole states and sometimes for the whole country also as IAS officers and IPS officers in the Home Ministry and various ministries. But each service has its own thing. So Naveen is again asking, for becoming IAS, we need honesty is a question mark. Not for becoming IAS, for anything in life you need honesty. Yeah. So you should definitely be honest in whatever you do, and that is something which will keep you in good stead, right? In or any career that you choose. Yeah, honesty and integrity are of course essential.
Sir, in India, it's IAS and IPS, right? What is it in other countries, like in US?
No, so this system of IAS, IPS, IFS, see, this is something which the Britishers gave us. So in fact, in their own country, Britain, they don't have such dedicated civil services in a big way. Even in the US, there is no such one overarching service. So this is something, services like this are primarily there now only in India, and of course because Pakistan is our neighbor and our brother who also had similar system of governance, right? But of course they have had military rule and all that, but they also have dedicated civil services, just like India has. Yeah, they conduct exams and they have their own system which is very similar to what India has. But otherwise, this is something which is very unique to India. Yeah, the Indian subcontinent. No other country has such a overarching civil service exam where civil servants are picked up and they serve for life, and that too at such senior positions. So that way, the civil service exams, the IAS, IPS, IFS kind of services is very unique to India.
So, what is your opinion about IAS officers joining the political parties?
So, see, I myself
Recently, Annamalai has joined BJP.
He has joined BJP. You know, I contested from South Chennai as part of Makkal Needi Mayam party. You may be aware. Yeah, so see, as long as you're in service, you cannot join a political party because you're supposed to be politically neutral, right? It's only after people retire or after they resign, they come back, and I think as long as you're honest in what you want to do, right? I may have differences of opinion with a particular party, and but that's individual choice, right? So you believe in certain things, and so you associate yourself with groups and parties which you feel you're comfortable with. But each one, as long as you are being honest, as long as you do things which is in the best interest of the country, it's fair. But you should uphold the constitutional values, and you should do things honestly. That is what is required ultimately.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
So what I feel is more of the general knowledge which we have from the young age will really help us for this.
Yes.
The surrounding and everything we need to know about.
Absolutely. Naveed has asked me how many attempts you took to become an IAS. I told you I cleared it in my first attempt. Khalilur Rahman has said, is there any reservations for minorities? No, not separately. See, India is a country which, as I told you, is a secular country. So we do not have religion-based reservation, right? That was something which was discussed in the Constituent Assembly. People said no. In fact, the Muslim League was formed, and it resulted in a very, very bloody partition at the time of independence because of the standing of religious sentiments amongst all sections of the society, right? So, but there are various states in which Muslims and other Christians also are treated as backward community. If they are treated as backward community as per the central list, then they will get that backward community reservation. But that is because of their OBC status, not as minorities per se, right? But having said that, the UPSC strives for wide representation of different sections of the society, right? So, governments will come, governments will go. Yeah. So, I have my own reservations about the present central government and the way they carry out various activities, right? But it is not something which is going to be permanent forever, right? So, and UPSC is a separate constitutional body which conducts a fair exam. So, definitely they look for diversity, and they will have certain preferences for people from minority section, more women should join the services. So all this will be there, but no separate reservation per se on religious lines.
And boys, mashallah, sir has been doing wonderful videos for the past 1 month connected to, especially for our backward class people who want to get a lot of information about this. I will keep sharing you those videos. And really nice information, sir, especially for our backward class people, minority sections, to know such a vast information.
Definitely. By online coaching, can we crack UPSC? Definitely you can, Ifzur Rahman. In fact, in our academy also, we also offer online classes for people who are far off and who want to study from their home itself. We do offer online classes. It depends on your dedication. And what are the important ingredients to be academically successful? The first ingredient is hard work. Yeah. The first and the most important. Yes, Thomas Alva Edison said, he was a big scientist who had more than 400 inventions to his name. So he himself said that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Which means only 1% is because of some great IQ that you have. 99% comes because of hard work. So I think for anything, not just academics, for anything, if you have to be successful, if you have to enjoy the success, and if it has to be continuous success. See, because lottery, you go and buy one day, and the next day suddenly you get a lottery and you get 10 lakh rupees prize. That is also successful, no? Because suddenly overnight you get 10 lakh rupees. But that is not a sustainable success. See, good luck if you get a lottery and win it. Use the money well and use it properly. That's fine. But don't go and buy lottery tickets because of that. But all I'm saying is, for academics, for any aspect of life, if you have to be successful and if you have to be consistently successful, if you have to be satisfied and happy in what you do, then hard work is very, very important.
Okay, Akhil, we are coming to the end of the session.
Sir,
Akhil?
taking this as an opportunity, I would like to make a request in front of you, sir.
Yeah,
Inshallah, once the things become normal, you should visit our school.
Yeah, definitely. I'll do that.
So this
Thank
school
you,
is in Mel Visharam in Vellore district. It's 120 kilometers from here. Surrounding city areas are Arcot, Ranipet, all those areas.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Akhil, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead with the end of the session, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for spending your precious time with us. And finally, now it's time for vote of thanks. Now I request Master T. Talha Habib of class 10th A to give vote of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am very happy, like I have scored 490 plus out of 500 in my public examination. Yes, why I am happy? Because I have to deliver the vote of thanks. Dear friends, all we have one special dream to become an IAS officer. According to this, fulfill this dream, this season was very useful and helpful by this legend speaker and inspired Mr. Rangarajan. Thank you for your sparkling speech and inspiring ideas, and also thank you for spending your precious time with us. And also I thank my principal, sir, from bottom of my heart. And also I thank my teacher who teach me the beautiful English. Without them, I can't deliver this speech. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants and my dear friends for your enthusiastic activities in KH Eminent Personality Series 12. Thank you Almighty Allah for this golden opportunity. Thank you all. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And a very special thanks to Mr. Abdul Rahman, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
the
you.
backbone of this series.
And Talha, mashallah, you're the first one to read it by heart. Very good effort.
Thank you, Habib. Now it's time for dua. I request Sajidullah to do dua. Sajidullah.
I think namaz time he went Akhil. Abdurrahman sir.
Okay, so we'll finish off with the session. Thank you, Rangarajan sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum. Allah hafiz. Jazakallah khair. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.